Hey everyone, welcome to another match of Temur Delver. Today we are playing Esper Control. So this hand is just keepable enough. It's just keepable enough. The only saving grace here is that we have Traverse. So worst case, if we don't get, oh well, that might put a slight roadblock on our plan, but odds are they're going to be going for our Tarmogoyf. Yeah, that's what I thought. So we have Traverse. If we don't get a land, oh, we do. Perfect. But if we didn't, we could always Traverse for a land and get our second land drop worst case. It's not ideal, but it wasn't worth throwing away the rest of the hand that we had. Now, unfortunately, our turn 2 plan is gone. So we're going to have to go with our turn 3 plan, potentially. All in all, this is not going too good so far. So we got Inquisition Co-Select turn 1, Thoughtseize turn 2. They took away our Stormwing entity. So all our threats are gone at the moment, but it's okay, because we still have Traverse. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to Tar Fire them. And with that Tar Fire, we now have Delirium, because we have Creature, Land, Instant, and Tribal. So it looks like I'm going to Traverse right now and get a Tarmogoyf, most likely. Yep. And then next turn, we can play that Tarmogoyf. It's going to be a nice big Tarmogoyf. Teferi comes down, and we are definitely going to counter it. I'm just going to assume our opponent knew we were going to counter it because they saw our hand, but maybe they didn't. Either way, they're going to help make Tarmogoyf even bigger, so that's great. We now have a 6/7 Tarmogoyf. That extra land would have been useful with the Stubborn Denial. Unfortunately, we're not going to get it. So that enchantment, Seal of Fire, is going to make our Tarmogoyf a 7/8, I believe. Unfortunately, we have nothing to protect our Tarmogoyf, so that's a goner. Esper Control is kind of annoying because they have a combination of two colors that have the best removal in Magic, white and black, so that's a bit annoying. We do have Delver Sequence with Mana Leak backup, so that's okay-ish. They're going to Field of Ruin our Stomping Ground, thinking they're going to get rid of our green. That's fine. Luckily for us, we play enough basics that stuff like that doesn't really affect us. So, Delver of Secrets flips, and we have 2 Mana Leaks, which is actually kind of good as long as our opponent's removal is not 1 mana. Yup. Exactly what I didn't want to see. Now the question is, do I even bother mana leaking? No, I'm not. I'm going to keep the mana leaks to potentially stop any other payoff spell that our opponent has. So we have Lightning Bolt, Tar Fire. Alright. That's 7 points of damage that we have overall. Now, of course, Teferi is not going to resolve. No way. Draw another Mana Leak. Alright. Not necessarily... I mean, we're drawing all the cards that we need to stall the game. Ideally, we want to draw cards that finish off the game. So we're going to Mana Leak them again. And technically, we have another Mana Leak as a backup. And looks like I'm going to just use Tar Fire from now. We draw a Force of Negation. That would have been useful several turns ago. Okay, so our opponent has got nothing. We draw Hooting Mandrills. Beautiful. So this is perfect. Hooting Mandrills with a Mana Leak backup or Force of Negation backup is actually pretty great. So there you go. We just got Hooting Mandrills for 1 green. So 4/4 Trampler. Mana Leak. Sorry, Path of Exile. So this necessitates a Force of Negation. And our opponent has all the answers, it seems. So Spell Queller is going to put a, just gonna dampen all of our fun. Alright. So we got no more basics to go for, unfortunately. So our opponent gets Jace. Luckily we have Lightning Bolt and we have Seal of Fire, so we can do some damage here. We draw Breeding Pool, which is just not what we want. So we're gonna Bolt Jace first. Yeah, that's pretty much all we're gonna do. Keeping Seal of Fire on hand for now. Stoneforge Mystic. They're most likely gonna pay. My thinking here is let's... Oh, okay. Yeah, it's time to concede. That's too much. That was just too much. So our opponent had all of the answers in game one. That was just brutal. We just came up with nothing there, unfortunately. And that does happen from time to time. But, I mean, when you have most of the bad draws and your opponent has most of the good draws, you're never going to win no matter what deck you're playing. So here we're playing a pretty interactive match. Our opponent is countering our spells or removing our creatures. So Thought Scour not as important because our graveyard is going to be filling up relatively quickly. And I'm removing some of my other removal for a Braid, or at least that's what I'm thinking of. Mostly just to have the 3 damage as opposed to the 2 damage. We're gonna need that reach. Everything else is fine though. Blood Moon will definitely be punishing if we have a chance to resolve it. So this hand is threat heavy, and it's good enough. With Serum Visions, it's pretty good. We have some redundancy here, and that's important. So we definitely don't want another Hooting Mandrills, but a Mana Leak would be nice. Alright, so our opponent does not fetch for black, so we're not going to get Thoughtseize or anything right now, which is always good. So we get our Mana Leak. And now the question is, do I play Delver or do I play Tarmogoyf? I think Delver is correct. If our opponent is going to start removing, let them remove Delver. Stoneforge Mystic. Alright. So Stoneforge is going to resolve. We're going to let them do whatever they need to do, and then we're going to bolt Stoneforge Mystic so that at the very least Batterskull does not come down next turn. Because that's basically what I do not want. So Stomping Ground is going to come down. We're going to pay our 3 life. And we're going to get rid of Stoneforge. Perfect. Let's hope Delver flips. It doesn't, and Hooting Mandrills comes back. So that's just my curse, unfortunately. So we're just going to attack in for 1 right now. And play a Tarmogoyf. There's no reason right now to slow roll. We want to commit at least 1 other creature to the board. And nothing happened, which is perfect. We have Mana Leak as a backup. And we get to show or reveal Lightning Bolt. So this is going to be a nice power turn. Assuming our opponent doesn't have anything. Yeah, and that we're going to Mana Leak. There we go. Perfect. So our opponent is down to a beautiful 6. Which means, unless they remove both of our creatures, they are dead next turn. So let's see what happens. Okay, so we're going to put that on the bottom, because we don't really need Tarmogoyf right now. We have plenty of threats on the battlefield. I mean, sorry, we have plenty of threats in our hand. So they bump Delver of Secrets back to our hand, which is super annoying. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play Hooting Mandrills instead, because Delver of Secrets is going to be too unreliable right now. I need something that's going to be able to do at least 3 damage next turn, and Delver of Secrets won't guarantee that. What's another nice thing is now we have Stubborn Denial. So in theory, we can counter anything that comes down. So I'm going to allow it or not. Okay, no, I'm going to bolt my opponent first. Yeah, that's smart because they might take that lightning bolt away and then buy themselves an extra turn. So I think that was good overall. So our opponent is dead unless they have an answer. I'm just going to assume that they do. Sure. So they're going to sacrifice their Spell Queller. They are going to go down to 1. Alright. It is what it is. We are going to fully commit, all out. So our opponent has to have 3 removal spells, essentially, in their hand. If they don't, we win. Yep. Alright. Good. That game went more in our favor, I feel. So that was pretty good. It looks like I decided to probably bring in Huntmaster. Not necessarily an incorrect play. Of course, that's a very biased opinion, but the type of game where I think Huntmaster might do good. Engineering Explosives, I'm not too sold on Engineering Explosives. Let's see if I keep it. That's interesting. So I decide to get rid of 2 Force of Negations for that, which is fair because, yes, our opponent does have a lot of non-creature spells, but Spell Queller is also annoying. Like, you can't respond to it. It's going to take out any of the spells that we're going to be casting, so it's kind of a brutal decision to make, but I think that's fair. Alright, so we have Scalding Tarn, we have an island, we have 2 Tarmogoyfs, well, 3 Tarmogoyfs, so boy, we got a lot of Tarmogoyfs. That's basically the only reason I kept this hand. We draw a Lightning Bolt, which is fantastic, and we are going to pass the turn. So, you know, again, against a deck like this, you want a lot of threat redundancy. So a hand like this is not necessarily the worst thing. I didn't fetch because I wanted a chance at drawing another land. Yes, I know the odds are minuscule, doesn't really make a difference, but I just do it anyway. Every decimal point counts. Our opponent's going to have a response to this. Alright. I'm definitely going to put it at the bottom. I don't want it. I've got enough threats at the moment. And I don't want, you know, I'd rather draw land actually at this point than my Tarmogoyf again. Our opponent is fetching very safely, as you noticed. And of course, another reason why you want to bring in a Braid, you want to beat the artifacts, right? So Tarmogoyf comes down. We have no real way of protecting, and by no real way I mean we have no way of protecting Tarmogoyf at the moment. So Field of Ruin is going to hit our Stomping Ground. We're going to go at a Forest, of course. Not the end of the world here. Fatal Push. Alright. Well, this is what we expected. So, it's okay. Now, we can play Delver of Secrets. Yeah. I mean, if our opponent has any more removal, I'd rather them hit Delver of Secrets at this point. So, let it happen. Our opponent, I just want to mention this before, our opponent is fetching very Blood Moon proof. I guess is the best way I can formulate it. And they didn't even see Blood Moon, so good on them for sniffing that out. Let's hope that Delver flips here. Okay, before Delver even flips, they are going to path it. Yeah, that's fine. We'll get our island. I actually don't mind getting ramped at this point. Oh, we draw our Tarmogoyf that was Aether Gusted before. Let's hope this Tarmogoyf survives the turn, because I would like to have it alive. And I guess the answer is no. Our Tarmogoyf's going to get path. Alright, well, folks, this is basically one of the worst case scenarios that we have to deal with. And I'm actually happy that I can show it. We draw Steam Vents just in time to bolt that stupid Snapcaster Mage. And we get our other Tarmogoyf, and now we are slightly more bulletproof because we have Stubborn now. Exactly. Our opponent doesn't have an answer, which is exactly what we wanted. I mean, at this point, they've exhausted all of their answers anyway. So now we're going to attack in with Tarmogoyf, and let's see if I rush to get Huntmaster out. It looks like I do. Alright, so it looks like I'm not playing here. It looks like I just want to get him out. And that's fine because, you know, our opponent can draw another Snapcaster Mage or not, and no, they don't. So that's it. Huntmaster, as usual, is either gonna do nothing or it's gonna win the game for you because our opponent is just going to concede or realize they should have conceded many turns ago when I resolved Huntmaster to Fells. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this match of Temur Delver. I've got 2 other matches that I'm posting up in some order. I'm not sure if this is going to be the first one, second, or third one up today. So stay tuned for those if they haven't gone up already. And I hope you got to see a bit of what this deck does in really crappy situations, such as playing against Esper Control. Control in general is not necessarily the most ideal matchups. And when you're playing Esper on top of it, so they have access to black and they have access to white, that's brutal. Like I said, they have very efficient, almost unconditional removal spells at their disposal. So yeah, it becomes really, really tough with the type of creatures that we're playing. But we have our own answers. We have our own permission package, and our permission package is strong. And you saw it at work there. So yeah, I was pretty happy with the way that went. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you enjoy my content in general, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow me on Twitter. All that stuff really helps me out a lot. You get to stay up to date with everything that I'm doing. Plus, I'm doing giveaways. I do a bunch of other stuff, not just deck techs and matches. So if you want to have a chance to win any of those giveaways, you should be following me on Twitter, and you should be subscribed to me on YouTube as well. Big thank you to my patrons. I appreciate your support. Have a good one.